Hey guys, and welcome to my first GT7 video. Today we'll be racing around Deep Forest Raceway in Daily Race B. In this first clip we're going to be racing around in the Mercedes SLS AMG from the Group 4. I quite like this car because especially from the very start you can get off the line a lot faster than most other cars, and it has a nice weight to power ratio, so you don't slide into the corners like you'd find with a lot of cars such as the GTR or the NSX, which is another car I quite enjoy driving around here. I haven't used the Meta car as much this time round, except to get my qualifying time of a 1:33, which was so the Meta car for this race is the Subaru WRX. As you can see, most people in this race are using that. So as we're getting underway here, you'll see quite quickly how I close up on this Polish player right ahead of me. I've got quite a bit of overspeed to him already, looking behind just to make sure I'm pulling away. And you'll see I go for a bit of a quick dive down the inside here, making sure it's as clean as possible. No contact made from any fault of me. It was just a racing instant. You see him turning on the radar on the right, and going through here you see I do a little bit of a lift going through this corner, as it helps me carry as much speed as I can into this heavy braking point as I shift down into third and go into sector 2. Now normally on this course I do struggle quite a bit with racing clean, so the two races in this video today are just me trying my best to stay as clean as possible. So as you've just seen there, I had a bit of contact with somebody going into the corner, and such that Harry has re-overtaken me, so got a bit of a knock from Magic there, but we're going to keep going. No hard feelings between either driver. It's just a racing instinct. Gonna tuck in the slipstream down the straight and just head down towards the hairpin, which is quite a difficult corner for me on this track because as I'm playing on controller, I struggle with the turning points quite a lot. So you see I brake quite early, shift myself down into first just so I can get that rotation, and as you can see I managed to switch back behind Magic and Higo, and we're going to zip down the main straight, trying to gain back on Harry once again. Now this race, I believe there's a few players that are in both races. One player you will need to watch out for in this is a German player who doesn't have a name on the leaderboard. It's just a blank name. He caused quite a few issues during this entire week, knocking me down in my SR rating from smashing me into barriers, or I've accidentally tapped him and it's caused a bit of agony between us. So just keep watching here, and as you'll see, like, Higo is closing very close up onto me, and as I go round the bend into sector 2 again, I stay ahead. I get a bit of a bump from behind, but I manage to keep well away from causing any major collisions. As we're going now down into the corner, I accidentally give Higo a bit of a revenge punt in a way, so we do it again there, but slow myself down to not give myself any advantage, and we're gonna power on down the back straight. This car's got more power than most cars in this class, so it is quite a good one to try and catch people who are pulling away, especially because the Alfa Romeo that Higo is using has a very low top end speed compared to most cars, so even when they're in the slipstream like a second to like a tenth of a second behind, you will find yourself pulling away even when they are in your slipstream, which I think is slightly overpowered for everyone else and unfair for everyone in the Alpha. So Higo is now ahead of me there, and as you can see, Harry has vanished. He got a bit of a contact with Higo, and now he's suffered the price there. So we're gonna head back down into turn 1 here, brake quite early to try and get the inside line to cover it off, go a little bit deep but still manage to keep a relatively narrow line so I don't run off the course. And as you can see now, the German behind, and right here he decides that it's a good idea to give me a punt into our good old friend Barrier, which gives Harry, Magic and Iceman position for free each. I will gain position back on Magic because he's got a 0.5 second penalty from running slightly wide, but I run wide out of that section, so I do lose another position to Tony. But I will get that back because he has a 1 second penalty. But yeah, this race was quite chaotic. As you can see, I've just been pushed off by Babel because admittedly neither of us gave each other enough space to work with on that particular corner. So I am now down in P14. Bear in mind I was racing in P7 or P6 depending on the lap. So I gained 2 positions there on Tony, and I can't quite remember the name of the other guy, but then we've just passed Harry again, and we're also going to take Jay Butter, and we're now on the back of Babel again. We get a better exit down onto the main straight, so we do gain a little bit towards, not too much because as I said I'm not very good, so I'm still working on my traction for that. So we're going quite quickly, and you'll see I close up quite a bit, especially in this corner, and you just see me go a little bit deep, and I'm a gear too high for what I normally do this in, and I don't think I realised this until I was coming up the hill, which by that point I was already at my 4th gear speed. So I shift down to get myself a bit of extra boost, and then but that little mistake nearly cost me a position with Butter. We had a bit of a rough and tumble, and I did punt him off into Barry, but he didn't lose too many positions, which is good for both him, and it means I didn't affect his race too badly. He does then lose 2 positions to both Tony and Harry, who are now behind me. So I'm gonna just go down this straight, and because it's quite a long straight now, I'm just gonna fast forward it a little bit to. Well, actually, no, I don't think I did fast forward this. It's just chasing down Babel, and we've got Tony closing in on me from behind. But this is where the slipstream kind of starts petering out for the Alpha, because as I said, it's got less power than the Mercedes. It's a better car overall for this track because it has better traction, better handling, because it's a lot lighter, a lot more agile. So the middle sector especially, you can just cut into the corners more without having to worry about veering off into a wall, getting yourself a 1.5 second penalty. So we're going down the main straight for the second to last time, heading down into turn 1 for the final time. I'm just going to get myself down into 3rd and take the correct line this time round. We've got Samoy and Tony having a bit of a battle behind me, and as you can see I've well and truly lost Babel at this point, so I'm just going to carry on with the race, try and get as much as I can, try and keep my P10, and slowly going faster and faster around this track because of these types of races where I am learning where I can push the car, where I can kind of learn my brake points, and then where I can also kind of gain the time, like out the traction. Like that was a poor exit into the back straight, but I still had enough traction where I was able to still pull away from Harry behind. So we come across the sector 3 marker to tell me that I'm currently 1.5 seconds up on my best lap, which at this point in time was a 37.9. So this is looking to be about a 35, I believe, high 35, mid 36 type thing. So we're gonna fly down the back straight, and we're gonna come home in a quite respectable P10 considering I got punted into good old Barry on lap 3. But I quite enjoyed this race, especially because it was just chaotic, and I do enjoy quite a bit of chaos. I'd also just like to take this little downtime between the races to apologise for any background noise you might be hearing over the gameplay audio, because I was playing this on controller. I had the mic unmuted, so you can just hear a bit of the gears within the controller whirring, so that will be sorted for next time I make one of these types of videos. with this one, I do show a few of my like practice laps just before we go into the final race, and you'll be able to kind of see my progress between the two. So I believe I may actually only get the one lap out of this, but I do believe it's around a 1:35, 1:34 time. So we go down the main straight now, going quite close to that apex, but not close enough where if I made a bit of mistake I'd tap the wall. I'm going to reach the line at 147 miles an hour into 6th, and we'll brake just before the 100 board and turn in at that yellow marker you just saw on the right. Try and get a minimum speed of around 58, 59 and push myself out to get to about 70 up to 90 towards this section, and try and keep it above 100 going into these S's as we go into sector 2. And as you'll see, I get a 26.4 for the first sector, so that's not my best. I think my best was around a 25.7. So we're going to quickly go through here. Just see, I took the first corner in this section a bit iffy, so I have lost a little bit of time to what I normally do, but brake quite early there again and turn left onto the back straight. That was quite a good exit, managed to keep it around 70 miles an hour, so I had good traction, good launch, and as you can see I'm currently up about half a second on my previous best, and as you can see in bottom right that is a 33.1. Now my best time for this was a 32.5 for that section, and I haven't been able to recreate that in any other car than the WRX because it was a lot slidier, so I was able to throw it around the corners and use the drift to kind of keep more speed going. So I believe I took the final corner on this lap quite well, so just gonna bring it home, sit down, and I believe it's around a 1:34, 1:35 time for this lap, which is about my average for this. So yeah, 1:38, 1:34.8 as opposed to my normal laps. And we'll just see that I've got a bit of extra time, so I use this time especially to kind of get myself warmed up, ready for the race. So as you can see, I came out of that corner a bit faster. I'm up to 106 going into this corner, keep it at about 101, 102 going into here, going slide left to right, keep myself at around 65 as we go into sector 2 again, and as you can see I got a 26.1 on sector 1 there, which is still not my best, but it is a lot faster. This is how I knew before I managed to do it that I actually could get a much faster time, because as you can see in the bottom right, my optimal time is a 1:34.4, which is about 7 tenths slower than my record. Not at this point in time. My previous record is sat there right now, the 1:33.8. So unfortunately I didn't actually get to finish that lap purely because it was the time limit didn't quite allow. So we're going to quickly go back into another race, and we're going to exchange some pleasantries with some of the people who were in the last race. So we'll say hello to Samoya and Higo, saying hello, good evening, and all that type of stuff. Want to build up a nice rapport with them just to make sure that it's a friendly environment, and they're also like feeling like they're with somebody that's familiar with them, because I had quite a good race with those two especially. So as you can see below me there as well in 10th, we have the nameless German. So he's got a C-rated safety rating, which usually means that they're a clean driver, but they can be prone to a little bit of like road rage. I myself am quite prone to road rage. I've gotten better with it, so I managed to keep myself in BB. Since recording this, so I have gone down to BD due to some players hitting me off track, and I got about 6 seconds in penalties in one corner from one punt from a different driver, and it dropped me all the way back down to BD. But so this is the final race of this video, so we're gonna go straight onto this and try and close up on Ronky Tonky straight away. Just gonna try and pull away from the German as much as possible, just to make sure I don't have a repeat of last time, because he's a lot closer this time around to last time due to him being one position behind me in the start. So I cut the grass a little bit too much for my own liking on turn 1 there. Luckily I didn't get a penalty because I lifted off quite a lot, so I didn't gain any speed. That was cut quite finely, I believe. I don't recall if I got a penalty for that, but then there was that incident with the Doug, which I will hold my hands up and say that was my fault. Sorry, no, not the dog. I can't quite remember who it was, but I did see it on the radar and I tried to avoid, and that's what caused a little bit of a spin on my part. He hit me and that corrected me, so I got righted by somebody else's issue. So going down this main straight, we've got Idon, Iceman and Bebel with Breaking Bad also in that mix, and it's going to be a decent little fight up here. So we've got 5 of us all within about a second, half a second, going into the final hairpin. And as you can see, Idon goes a little bit deep. He gets a bit of, I think he gets a bit of contact from either Breaking Bad or from Iceman. So he lost it a little bit, but he managed to keep it out the wall. So I don't believe he got a penalty for that, or if he did, it was only a 0.5 for cutting the track. So as you can see there, I cut quite close to the left there, and try and keep it as close as I can to Iceman. He was trying to bring it in deeper into that corner when we were going around then, so I don't blame him for that. And then I get hit up the back by, I believe that was Idon, and I think he does get a penalty for that because I ended up colliding with other cars due to that collision. So we're going up the hill, sector 1, and I'm starting to lose Breaking Bad a little bit. So we're going to go down into 3rd and keep it around 60 to get into this sector. So it's not as fast as it can be, but it's also not as bad as it has been in the past, where I've been in 1st gear going around that corner because I've spun. So we're going down towards final straight again, and as you can see, I take that quite a bit better than Breaking Bad at first, but then I do lose my traction, so I do lose a little bit of time, but then gain it back before losing it again in this corner, which is something else I also struggled with. So I'd find myself drifting slightly too wide and getting the 0.5 second penalty, which annoyed me quite a bit because I was just sat there following somebody else's line, arguably staying on the track more but still getting the penalty. But it's just something that happens, especially with like Polyphony Digital. I've heard, like, I played a bit of Gran Turismo Sport and I had similar issues on different tracks there, so just gonna give it a bit of a fast forward down here just because it's a long straight and nothing really happens. I'm pulling away from Idon and I'm catching up to Breaking Bad, but gonna join myself back as I'm sliding into the final 2 corners of sector 1, and as you can see, Idon has a 2-second penalty. So I lose 2 positions to my 2 mates from the last race, Samoy and Higo, but then regain 1 instantly on Higo due to him having a bit of a moment going out of the tunnel there. So somebody just left there. I believe that was the person who the yellow flags were out for. He was spun by one of the, I believe, by the nameless German. So he left the race due to that, and that gave me a free position. So now I'm up into 7th. So we're gonna cut quite shallowly into this one, go quite slow over the crest of that hill and just go down. I'm going to skip ahead to just after turn 1 because this is when Idon starts catching up and I gain the coveted P6, or as me and my friends who I play this game with affectionately call it P-Steve in honour of Super GT. So we have our P6 and Idon is currently 1.2 seconds, 1.1 behind me, and we're going to the point now where I'm stressed. It's the final lap and we're gonna have to defend opposition quite a bit because I got terrible run out of that corner onto the back straight. So he's going to be gaining on me up until I get to speed because he's in the Alpha, I believe. So I think you'll see soon enough that if he is in the Alpha, I will start pulling away. So we go quite shallow into the final hairpin, keep it on the apex, keep it in 1st, which gives me better traction out that final corner, and that gives me all the run I need to pull away from Idon and come home in a beautiful P6 from P9 on the grid. So it's not much, but because I'm still learning, I'm still improving every single day. I love the fact that I was able to do this. So it was definitely a learning experience, this track especially, due to the tightness of some of the sections, the strict like track limits. But going up these hills in the right gear always felt nice when it was nice and smooth, so you'd go left to right and keeping it within the track limits, and you always felt as if you were doing the best you could, but then you found yourself improving even more by doing something slightly different. And that's what racing is all about, because it is just a constant learning curve. Sometimes it'll be quite steep, sometimes it's quite a shallow one, so like you'll gain like a couple thousandths, but even that feels amazing to see on your timing sheets. Like you've got a 1:37.999 and you go down to a 1:37.98, for example. So it's all a lot of improvement for me, and I do enjoy playing this game, especially due to that type of learning curve, and I will continue to enjoy playing this game for many years to come, I hope. As you can see there, gained 3 positions, got a clean race bonus, which is always lovely to see. This is how I know that I was getting better at this race. So this was towards the end of the week. I believe this was the 3rd, so Saturday, I believe. So I was a week into this, and I was sat there getting slowly, progressively better, trying to get through a race without any penalties or any contact, and I managed to do that there. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.